What's up, guys? Welcome to the main event. I'm Cody Askins.
And I'm Will Frazier.
We are a Secure Agent Mentor. We're going to come to you every Monday afternoon at 3 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time to jack you up, to get you excited, to give you tricks, secrets, tips, strategies, things that are working for insurance agents out in the field. We want to bring it to you live every Monday at 3 o'clock. Dude, do we have a show for them? Or do we have a show for them?
We have got a show for you. Dude. Thanks for tuning in, guys. You're going to get a lot out of this. I know Cody's got a lot of great content to deliver. I'm super excited. Pumped to be here.
Absolutely, man. We've got our topic today is how much action is enough?
That's right, and that's a super important topic. Of course, being in the insurance industry, everybody knows action is really everything. It's action is what your day consists of. It can be in the form of calls, in-person meetings, you name it. But action is everything in this business.
That's it. Door knocks.
That's right.
It's just a matter of doing what is enough, or actually doing what is more than enough.
Exactly.
Getting obsessed, engrossing yourself, and taking more action than anyone else in the world.
That's right.
If you do those things, you cannot fail in sales, and you cannot fail in the insurance business in general.
That's right. That's right. So what can we expect to get from us today, Cody?
That's a great question. Today, and every Monday, today we're going to dive into the actual numbers, the actual stats, how it works to get in front of that many people. And we're actually going to get into the math of sales. We're going to get in how much action does an average insurance agent take. We've got articles from the Harvard Business Review. We've got articles by Grant Cardone on entrepreneur.com. We've got several articles that we're going to bring to you today that are about the activity and the action that you need to take.
Definitely. Well, I'm sure pumped to be here. I know that this was really big for me when I got into this business.
That's right.
You know, when you get into an office, especially, you know, not our office, obviously. Everybody here takes lots of action. But
dude, you have to, baby.
That's right. We're all here to make money, and you know, it's just really important not to, I think, you know, feed on what you see as the typical insurance agent and what they do, because obviously, you know, we've already touched on it several times. Mm-hmm. It's just not enough. It will not cut it. If you want to be successful, you've got to do more than everybody else is doing.
Exactly. And I've been fortunate enough to work with Will over the last several months, and I'm telling you, this dude takes as much, if not more action than anyone I have ever met. So I'm happy to have him sitting right here with me, delivering this to you today.
Hey, thanks, man. I sure appreciate it.
Why don't we dive into how much action does the average insurance agent take?
Okay.
What's normal? What's average? And then we are going to supersede anything to do with average. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
What do you think an average insurance agent does? I mean, because everyone wants to succeed, right?
Absolutely. It's, you know, I would say the average insurance agent is making, what would you say, 5, 10, 12, 15 calls a day?
Unfortunately,
you know,
on a good day.
Yeah, definitely. So at best, you know, you're running 1 or 2 appointments every week, which just will not cut it. That's, you know, maybe if you're lucky, 1 sale.
Right, exactly. And that's, for some reason, that's what people think, that they can come in the business. And I think a lot of it's just a fear.
Yeah.
It's a fear of rejection. It's a fear, or the fact that they don't realize or know how much action and activity it really takes.
Right.
Which is why we're going to take it to the next step. We are going to let you know how much activity and action you need to take, what you have to do, and what is required from this point forward.
Exactly.
Because like you said, 5 to 10 calls a day? Come on. I mean, that's like a 15-minute work day.
Right.
You know, exactly. There was a book called The 4-Hour Work Week. Screw that.
Yeah.
Some agents are working an hour work, which is insane. I mean, the fact that when you're in the business and you're having success, and it gets contagious, you know, and you want to take it a step farther. You want to do everything you can. But 5 to 10 calls a day, 1 to 2 appointments a week on average, 1 sale if they're lucky.
Yeah.
Who can live off 1 sale?
Not me. I know that. I can tell you that for sure.
Which is exactly why 92%, real life statistic, 92% of all insurance agents do not make it past 3 years.
Yep.
How sad is that?
Very sad. This is a business with a ton of opportunity. You can make a ton of money. I know that everybody getting into this business wants to make a ton of money.
Oh, exactly.
They're just not doing the work. Maybe they don't know what the work is. Maybe they're afraid of it, but we're going to try and get you past all that today.
Which is exactly why we got into this side of the business. Yes, we still sell. Yes, we still take a ton of freaking action every single day.
Yes, sir.
But we want to let other agents know what you need to do to be successful. What you got to do to blow up your business.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's dive in. One thing we want to go over, we've got several articles we want to go over, but one thing you have to know, before you can know how much action you need to take and what you need to do, you got to know the math. So let's dive into the actual math of sales, math of the insurance business, because you got to know the math, man. I mean, once you know the math, then you know exactly what you got to do day in and day out.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So what would you say the most popular number is?
The most popular number, I would say, getting into the insurance business, everybody wants to make $100,000. Everybody wants to make a six-figure income. So
why is that?
I don't know. I guess 100,000 is a good number. That was definitely my goal when I first got into the business. Now I'd say I'm more looking for a few times that.
Oh, easy.
But 100,000 is definitely a good goal, I would say, for a first-year agent.
It is, absolutely, because, and what we're going to dive into, we're going to dive into the actual math of it, and this is exactly what I did at 19, 20 years old to make $117,000 in 8 months. By taking it that step further, by knowing the math, by diving in, by becoming obsessed, and we're going to give you the steps to take to make sure that you hit that $100,000 goal, even though $100,000 is not a lot of money nowadays.
Right.
You can't, I couldn't live on $100,000.
No.
I just can't.
Right.
My aspirations, ambitions are that much bigger, are that much stronger, that much higher. But you're right. That's the most common number we get.
Definitely. And I think that's why Cody and I really hit it off. Is 100,000. It's just not a whole lot of money anymore, and a lot of us, Cody and I included, we've got much bigger dreams and we want to hit much bigger numbers than that. But one thing to keep in mind about all this, guys, is this is scalable. I mean, you want to make 300,000, do 3 times this. You want to make 500,000, do 5 times this. It's all scalable. 100,000 is just a good starting point.
Exactly.
And once you do 100,000, I'm telling you, you want to get to 300 so much worse than you do right now.
Yeah, you will literally become obsessed.
Yes,
you really
definitely.
will. And so the normal goal is, hey, I want to make $100,000. Well, when you set a goal like that, we've got to start to break it down. We've got to back it down into where you know exactly what you need to do on a day-to-day basis to hit that number. So first thing we need to decide is, what is an average sale worth? And it varies by products.
Right.
It varies by types of insurance. You have a bit more of a P&C background. I've got a more of a life and health background.
Yeah.
Let's just, for easy math's sake, you'll just call it $500.
Yeah, let's do $500. I think especially for a life and health agent, $500 is a pretty conservative number, guys. I mean, you could get out there and hit a couple of $700 or $800 deals in one day. I mean, 500.
Which is right.
Yeah, definitely.
You're right around my average numbers as far as life insurance and final expense, premium and commission. It's $700, $800, $900 a pop.
Definitely.
So we're being very conservative with these numbers, but we don't want to make you think that, you only have to do this much to do this.
Right.
We want to make it seem like, hey, if you do these types of numbers, we guarantee that you'll hit your goal.
Absolutely.
Which is what you're here for. So let's just say the average sale is $500, $100,000 goal divided by an average sale of $500. That's 200 sales.
200 sales a year.
That's it.
That's really not. I mean, when you break it down by month, guys, that is so attainable. I mean, it should be an absolute given that we're hitting these numbers every month.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. And so when you say, okay, I need to make 200 sales over the next 12 months or in a calendar year, well, then we need to figure out what your closing ratio is. And for every agent, it's different, but you've got to know what it is. I know that it depends on the type of business you're working. Whether you're cold calling, door knocking, working warm market, working referrals, working direct mail, all those things are totally different.
Right.
I know for myself, I'm probably up in even for cold and leads, I'm probably up in the 80% range, honestly. But I would say, again, to be conservative, we said we would be, let's make it 50%.
Okay.
50% closing ratio. Anyone can do 50% closing ratio if you see enough people and you get good enough. You skill up. You put forth the activity. So on a 50% closing ratio, to get 200 sales, I guess you need to see 400 people.
Yep.
You
400
need to run,
appointments.
That's right. 400 appointments. And we'll even give them a week for Christmas.
Yeah. Right.
A week for vacation.
Yep.
Sure, you
50 weeks.
Yeah, you got to refuel. Yeah, exactly, 50 weeks. So 400 appointments in 50 weeks. If you start to break it down, that's only 8 appointments per week. You just got to run 8 appointments per week.
Right, and that's really, I mean, Cody runs, geez, you run 8 appointments every couple of days at minimum.
There's been tons of days I've ran more.
Right.
Tons of days I've ran more. And so you think about it, you're like, well, 8 doesn't, maybe it sounds like a lot. Well, look at what you've been doing and evaluate how serious have you been, right? I mean, okay, so if all you got to do is get in front of 8 people a week and actually run 8 appointments, warm up with 8 people, fact find with 8 people, present to 8 people, and close 8 people a week, just run 8 appointments, ask 8 people to buy. Let's just say that, in the insurance business, if you're working cold stuff or leads, yes, some people are going to change their mind. They're going to forget.
Right.
They're going to cancel. They're going to stand you up. Those things are normal. So maybe you got to set 10 or 12 to run 8.
Definitely. I would say always, you want to account for the no-shows. You want to account for the people who just won't call you back.
Exactly.
Make sure that you don't set a target of 8 appointments a week, because then you're going to have weeks where you end up with 5, and you definitely don't want to end up with that. Shoot for 10 to 12 appointments a week. You will get your 8.
Yeah,
I think that's super fair.
Yeah. Well, and no one will. If I said, hey, you've got to run 8 appointments, the dude would try to run 24.
That's right.
We don't do anything average. We don't do anything, well, you know what, I've worked hard enough, I've worked long enough, this is enough. I saw 8 people, so I'm really, really content. I'm not going to try to stress myself out, overwork myself, do too much, right? I mean, how often would you hear that kind of stuff?
All the time. And it's so contagious, guys. I'm telling you, you get around people like that in your office for too long and start spending time getting coffee, talking to everybody about how I'm just doing so much and I'm not seeing the results from it. That kind of thing brings you down. So get around people that will, they will hear 8 and go try and set 24, 25 appointments. Those are the type of producers that you want to surround yourself with if you want to bring yourself up.
Yeah. Is that why your name's Will?
It must be.
Because you just will.
I just will. There's no doubt about it.
You just have the will.
That's right.
Something you got to have, though. Okay, so once you know the math behind what you're doing, what you're looking to do, what you're trying to accomplish, then there's 3 steps that you need to take, right? I mean, there's 3 steps that we take every day in our business, that once you know the math and your goal and what you have to do, then we take these 3 steps.
Yep. And I guess the first one, and probably definitely the most important, I would say, is you got to get obsessed. You've got to feel like getting those 8 appointments every week, I mean, it's your end-all, be-all.
Life or death.
Yes, definitely. And you've got to have a good, solid why behind that. You want to know why. You want to know why you're obsessed. Why are you obsessed? Why do you want to make $100,000? So make sure you know those things when you start delving into this, guys, because anybody can set these goals, and if you don't know that there's a reason why I want to hit that, and I'm going to become obsessed with hitting that, it's easy to let yourself fall down, and it's just one of those things.
So true. And don't just pick out $100,000 because that sounds like a good number. It's not anymore.
Right.
I mean, $100,000 is.
It's just barely getting by these days. It really is.
It really, really is. You need to set bigger goals. You need to figure out exactly what your goal is, and like you said, why it is the way it is.
Exactly.
So, how does someone become the first step? Before you can get to step 2, you got to be obsessed. How do you become obsessed? Is it just an internal thing that they've got to deal with themselves and figure out why the heck they're doing what they're doing?
I think that's definitely part of it. You want to know your why, and you want to know, well, what's going to make me really feel good about this number? What's going to make me feel good about hitting this number? But you've got to become a student of the game, whether it's perfecting your
that.
sales stuff,
I love
whether
that.
it's working product knowledge. You've got to really become a student of the game and just flood your system with information on what you're doing. I think that for those of you that are like, man, I just don't know how do I get obsessed with something like, selling in my job. I want to be obsessed with this or that or the other thing. I mean, really, really just flood yourself with content and information. I know that's what I did. That's how I got myself obsessed.
And you bring up an incredible point, because to be a student of the game, you've got to, let me ask you this. Is there ever a day where you don't read a part of a sales book, listen to an audio book, learn through YouTube, like our subscribers are now? Is there ever a day where you're not constantly learning? Is there ever a day where you're not constantly a student of the game?
There's really not. I mean,
but because you're obsessed.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're never going to tolerate being average.
Right. Exactly.
Who wants to be average?
I know. And
I want to throw up.
I know it. But we see that's so common nowadays in this business. Is you've got the guys who are average, making 5 to 10 calls a day, running 1-2 appointments a week, and making a sale every week, and they're like, man, maybe that's just me. And it's not. It's not.
No.
You can bring yourself out of that.
Anyone can do it. There's no question about it. Okay, so after you're obsessed, step 2. And are you obsessed before we move on to step 2? Step 2, get creative. Once you become obsessed, then you've got to get creative. What do we mean by that?
I think that really just means that for me, getting creative means that when I think about my business and my business plan, I want to have, of course, getting on the phones and pounding the phones, that's always going to bring you results. Going door to door, always going to bring you results. Build those good, solid referral relationships, always going to bring you results. But try and think outside the box a bit. Make it fun for yourself. Maybe you're not a real strong door-to-door guy, so get creative and think of something that you can supplement that avenue with that makes you some money and brings some deals your way.
Right. And when you talk about creativity, you can be successful and become obsessed and take massive amounts of action without being creative, but you can take a lot of any action's better than no action, but there's a lot of stupid action.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
like for instance, how I got creative my first year in the business is I was full-time. I was in college playing basketball, and I figured out the math. I figured out what I needed to do on a consistent basis. So what I would do is I would actually bring over about a handful of college students from the local university that I went to. I would give them a script, a phone, and just a cold call list of demographic, 50 to 85 or whatever. And they would pound the phones. I would run around like a boiler room, motivating them, jacking them up, giving them, throwing cash around, giving them cash for every appointment they set, giving out iTunes gift cards, Subway gift cards, food. I'd order pizzas. And I would leave with 8, 10, 12, 15, 20 appointments sometimes in 1 2 to 3 hour period, right? That's the stuff we're talking about when we talk about getting creative.
And that is awesome. That's on a whole nother level of creativity right there. Be thinking about things like that you can do, guys. I mean, that's Cody's thing. That's where he was at. Those are the resources that he had.
Right.
And that's what he did with it. There's lots of other ways that you can get creative, for sure.
There absolutely are. And you know what? It's just a matter of thinking outside the box.
Right.
I mean, I knew with my math and what I need to do, I've got to see... I was captive back then, so I knew I had to see a few more people. My average sale was lower than it is now, and so I knew I had to. I did the math, and I said if I can get in front of and ask 10 people to buy every single week, I'll make $100,000.
Yeah.
So guess what I did for 8 consecutive months? Do you think I ever let a week go by where I didn't see 10 people, ask 10 people to buy?
No.
And the different avenues I used was the call nights, like we talked about.
Right.
I also worked my warm market when I could. I also worked leads. And the first call night was cold calling, leads, warm market, and door knocking. I door knocked anywhere and everywhere, every senior housing complex I could find, every Section 8 housing complex I could find. I got kicked out of so many senior apartments, it's unreal. I got kicked out of some of the nicest senior living places in Springfield, Missouri. But I knocked residential, commercial businesses. But by taking that level of action and seeing that many people, getting in front of that many people, ask that many people to buy, it's hard to lose, man.
Right. It's impossible to lose. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the most important thing, is just getting out there and taking action. And
exactly.
I mean, that really is what it all boils down
That's
to,
it.
and that's why we really wanted to bring you guys this content and do this show.
Right, and we use something else that's creative. Something that we both do in our business now is we use Filipino telemarketers because they will work for $3 an hour.
Right.
They're reliable.
Yep.
And they're an asset to our business.
Definitely.
That's thinking outside the box, because not everyone can afford to hire an employee, pay employee taxes, all those things.
Right.
But you've got to be able to think outside the box, create leads, learn how to generate your own leads. Internet leads are garbage nowadays,
They
right?
are.
I mean,
They are.
we've got leads that are good, that are very good quality, but I will not ever buy another internet lead ever again.
No doubt about it. I mean, and that really is so important. I mean, you talked about taking stupid action. And
Right.
to me, spending all of your marketing budget, everything that you've got on leads that don't convert, it just seems like the easy way out, if you will.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Some people they say, well, if I do this and I fail at it, then I can at least say that I tried, and it's stupid action.
Yeah.
It's stupid action.
If you'll just take it that step farther, once you know the math and you become obsessed and you get creative, think outside the box. What are some creative ways, and we've given you a couple of just total random ones, what are some creative ways that you can get in front of people? Like, for instance, I used to do T65 Medicare door knocking. I can door knock and get in front of and ask 10 people to buy every single week from door knocking. Now, did I want to be a door knocker the rest of my life? Well, no, that's why I'm here doing this.
Right.
But I was going to do whatever it took. And so even if it takes door knocking, cold calling, just get in front of people, pitch them on your product, build rapport, fact find, present, and ask for the business, which is, we don't have it on here, but you've got to ask. You've got to learn to close.
Definitely. So important. So many people can get through, they can prospect, they can build the rapport, they can build value on the product, and their clients just sitting there waiting for them to ask for their account and routing number, and they never do it. So, that's another piece to it, of course. You want to make sure, and you're asking for the business, and you're trying to close, and you're constantly improving.
Right, exactly. Skill up.
Exactly.
Skill up, baby. Skill up. All right.
That's right.
I'm going to let you introduce the third and final step. It's my personal favorite.
Yeah.
And I know you're one of the world's best at doing this. So let them know what step number 3. Become obsessed. Get creative.
So guys, number 3 is just take massive action. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just know that. Don't be that guy that sits around thinking, okay, don't listen to this show and say, okay, door knocking, cold calling, all right, I got to do a little more of that. Let me sit down and think about some ways that I could door knock well. Think about some ways I could cold call well. How am I going to get through to the most people? How can I make this perfect? Because it's really not about being perfect.
No. Gosh,
it's just about taking massive action. I cannot stress that enough. It doesn't have to be great. It's just got to be there. You got to show up no matter what.
Done is better than perfect.
Right, exactly.
And I'm pretty OCD and pretty picky.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do something over doing nothing. Like this. We're shooting a live show for all our YouTube subscribers, our Facebook fans. That's something that the average individual would be scared to death to do, or wouldn't want to take that next level of action. Put fear aside. Don't pre-qualify anything. Don't overthink anything. Just take it. Just do it. Because I know everyone that's sitting there watching this, whether it be on Facebook or YouTube, I know they're sitting there thinking, okay, I can do this. And you can. But you've got to take it that one step farther. You've got to think outside the box. You've got to become obsessed. You've got to get creative. And then you've got to take massive amounts of action. And anyone that's listening, if they apply these things, they will hit any goal they set their mind to.
Definitely. Once you know your metrics, action is everything, guys. It's so important, and you're so right. And I guess sometimes it's hard to, even for me, and probably for you too, it's hard to understand why people wouldn't just say, all right, you know what, I'm going to do this. I got nothing to lose. But I think that, it's really important, and a mentor that I had when I first got into this business used to tell me, you got to check your ego at the door every day. Everybody wants to be the cool kid at the lunch table.
Right.
Everybody,
and especially millennials nowadays.
Definitely. It's all about, how great everybody looks on their Instagram or on their Facebook. What will people think of me if I get out there and put myself out there like this and nobody bites?
Why do people care what other people think? Why do they care that much what other people think that they will do nothing to not look like an idiot?
Yeah, I know. It's amazing. Everyone, well, I'm not going to say everyone. And it's something that you can get past, because I used to be this way too. Now, when I look back and think about it.
Were you really? I don't believe that.
4 or 5 years ago, there's no way I would have, put myself out there. I would have said, wait, what will everybody think? What will all my high school friends think?
You know what? Back in high school, that's the thing, college.
Exactly.
Who cares what people think? You do you. You do what's best for you. And so that's why we've got an article here, entrepreneur.com released an article by international sales expert Grant Cardone, who we both follow and listen to quite a bit. It's titled, "You'll Only Achieve Success by Taking Massive Levels of Action." And just to kind of go through a little bit of what he talks about in here, and again, the title, "You'll Only Achieve Success by Taking Massive Levels of Action."
Yep.
That's what we live for. That's what we do. And for other people to say that and you not to hear it just from us, it must be important. And so he's got a little quote in here. "Failure is defined as an omission of occurrence or performance of something, a state of inability to perform a normal function, a lack of success, failing in business, falling short, or a deficiency." Because you're not doing enough. Right? I mean, and there's tons in this. Again, it's on entrepreneur.com. His 4 degrees of action that he talks about. Number 1's doing nothing. Which plenty of people, I would say a lot of people still do that, but I would say some at least do. Most do a little, right?
Yeah.
I mean, most do a little. Number 2 is the retreaters. The people who retreat are probably trying to avoid the negative experience they imagine will come from the results of taking action, possibly failing, looking stupid.
So many agents these days. So many retreaters, I would say. Definitely.
It's so true. And then you've got, the people that take what they think is necessary, just enough to survive the average amounts of action, whatever they think is required, right? I mean, and then there's number 4, the individuals that like us, that take massive amounts of action.
Right.
Whatever it takes, take it times 5x, 10x, and do it, right? I mean,
definitely.
Just do it. He says, "Until adults told me otherwise, I didn't know anything other than massive action. People would frown and hint that maybe I should calm down, that it happened to you as a kid. This 4th degree of action he says it's the most natural state. But as we grow up, again, we start to worry about what people think, what doesn't matter, and then we start to do less and less and less."
Yeah, definitely.
One thing that I know you wanted to touch on, which is it always involves the follow-up. It always involves, which again is taking massive amounts of action.
Right.
Follow-up is involved in that. And so why don't you touch on some of the stats that we have known, but that we've discovered and that we wanted to share with you guys?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's one thing to read these. Cody and I have lived this. We know that this is true. I'm going to read this off to you guys because I really think that this is so important.
Super important. Take some notes. Get a pen.
Definitely.
Get a pad out. This is extremely important.
This is good stuff, guys. Okay, so 48% of salespeople never follow up with a prospect. That is insane to me. But
almost half.
Yeah.
Never do anything.
Exactly. 25% of salespeople make a second contact and stop. 12% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts. That's hardly anything. And guys, let me just dive right into why this is so important. And that is because 2% of sales are made on the first contact.
Yeah.
So 48% of you are going after 2% of sales. That really dilutes your pool of what you can pull from.
That's insane. I mean, you said 25% of people make a second contact and stop.
Right.
12% of salespeople make more than 3.
More than 3 contacts.
Okay. Well, that's a step in the right direction. It's a little better.
Definitely.
Than none.
Yeah, it's better than none for sure. Okay, so 2% of sales are made on the first contact. 3% of sales are made on the second contact. Still hardly anything at all. 5% of sales are made on the third contact, where most people have already given up. 2% 10% of sales are made on the fourth contact.
Only 10% of sales are made on the fourth contact, when I guarantee you the average insurance agent is taking one,
Right.
plenty of nones, plenty of twos, lots of ones, right?
Lots of ones.
But let's get to the real statistic of what you need to know so that anytime you follow up, you're taking it that step farther. You know how many times you got to follow up, how many times you got to touch them to get success, to make the sale.
This is the banger, guys. This is what it all boils down to right here. 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact.
That's incredible.
Most agents are not even getting to that. You have if you are willing to be that guy that makes the 5th to 12th contact, your competition's gone. There's nobody even left following up with them.
Exactly. But even then, okay, 5 to 12 is awesome. But if you know 80% of sales are between the 5th and 12th, should you take 5 or should you just take 12?
You should take 12. I'm taking 12
Or should you
every
just
time.
take 20?
Why not? Why not?
I mean, those are the real stats. This is from followupsuccess.com. These are real statistics. I know Inside Sales does a lot of different statistics. These are real. And if you know these, it's that much easier to make that extra call.
Definitely.
Now, Will comes to me and says, "Hey, dude, I'm at 4. I'm at my 4th contact on this person. I'm that much closer to actually making this sale."
Exactly. You should get excited when you get that 4th click because you've got it's going to happen on the next 7 chances, and if it doesn't, it happened on the last 2, and it all averages itself out.
Right.
Make sure that you are not looking at one example and saying the numbers didn't line up. This is all averages. Everything averages out. If you take this much action, it will happen for you. No questions asked.
Exactly. Take whatever is is going to guarantee results.
Definitely.
Take that much, and I don't know why anyone would ever take, but we sell leads to agents, final expense life insurance leads, and I guarantee you 90%, the facts, 90% of them are only going to touch them 1 or 2 times. When we know 80% of sales are made between the 5th and 12th contact.
Right.
Why would you take 2? No sense. All right.
Beyond me.
Another article we want to touch on is, and this was published in a Harvard Business Review. This is by InsideSales.com. Again, Harvard Business Review must be legit, right?
That's right.
This was on InsideSales.com. It's the best practices for lead response management. They took 3 years of data, 15,000 unique leads, and 100,000 call attempts. And what they figured out is the best days to make a contact are Wednesday and Thursday. The best days to make a contact are Wednesday and Thursday. Now, if you get a lead on Monday, should you wait till Wednesday or Thursday? Because you may have a 6% better chance of getting in touch with them?
Nope, you shouldn't. You should call your leads within, I know personally, I have them set up to where when I get a lead, it just rings my phone.
Yeah, exactly.
I pick up the phone and I just wait for the lead to dial on. I call them immediately. I would, and every now and then I guess people have got so many coming in on a certain day that they, of course it's not feasible for them to get to it within 3 seconds, but don't wait until the day is.
That's one thing that we do very well. We don't pre-qualify anyone.
Right.
We don't overthink, as we said earlier. Just take action.
Yes.
Just take action over and over. But make sure that when you get to that Wednesday and you've already contacted them 3 times Monday, you've texted and called them 3 times Tuesday, call them 8 times Wednesday. Yeah. Get to your 12. These are statistics to know, but don't let it affect how you actually follow up. It should help it. It should improve it. But don't let it keep you from following up at all, right? I mean, so number 2, best times to contact. Looks like the best times are between 8 and 9 and about 4 to 5:30.
Yeah.
Which we see that a lot.
Yeah,
that's pretty normal. But again, we're not going to get a lead at 2 o'clock and it be hot and fresh and good and wait till 4 o'clock.
Right. Now, we'll just call them during the day, and then we'll call them again at 4 o'clock when it's good to call them. When people
we probably would have touched them 15 times by then.
Right.
I mean, we're either going to get in front of them and sell them, or they're going to tell us to get lost.
Right.
Who cares if Next.
Right. Weed them out. Weed them out
That's
as
all-
quickly as you can. You should be trying to
Exactly.
get those people that are time wasters and just,
Exactly.
you're never going to. They're never going to see the
It's true.
value. They're never going to pull the trigger. There's people are out there,
Yep.
and they're not the kind of people that you want to be doing business with.
Yep. And so, number 3 is response time, which is 10 times. There's a 10x decrease after the first 5 minutes. So leads are incredible in the first 5 minutes. Their buying desire drops. It's after 30 minutes. It's not that you don't want, again, follow up over and over and over again, but when you get it, work it.
Yes.
Call it. Follow up. Take the massive amounts of action that we just talked about. Number 4, persistence. Again, you have a better chance of making a sell in the 6th contact than the first. So take 6.
Yes.
Right?
Definitely.
I mean, what else should we add? Again, the 3, know the math, become obsessed, get creative, and take massive amounts of action. What else should we include, add?
I guess one thing that I see happen a lot, and I can't stand this, and it goes right into all this. You don't want to be that agent that gets the lead, and you're like, okay, well, it's good within the first 5-10 minutes. My chances of getting a hold of them are great, so I'm going to take a few minutes to prepare the quotes, figure out, what am I going to sell to this person when I get on the phone with them, and try and getting everything right, because that goes against everything that we teach and believe in.
Yeah.
You've got to just do. Just do. Don't try to be perfect. You rarely will be in a business like this anyway.
Exactly. I get a lot of agents say, hey, I got a lead, I've got a good referral, I'm going to call them tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Like, what the freak are you going to wait for?
I know it.
What's the purpose of that?
Exactly.
Take massive amounts of action. Don't let anything get in the way. That's it, right?
Exactly.
I'm Cody Askins.
And I'm Will Frazier.
Again, this is Secure Agent Mentor. Thanks so much for watching this. You've watched the main event about how much action is really, really enough. Whatever it is, do that much more, take that much more, know the math, become obsessed, get creative, and take massive amounts of action. Again, thanks for watching the main event. We'll see you next Monday at 3 o'clock.
Thanks, guys.